everyone, it's time for Quick Facts with Callie. Today we're going to talk about something that's a little bit sad and uncomfortable, and that would be the topic of civilian to combatant fatalities. And this isn't the most fun subject to discuss, but given the recent allegations of genocide from South Africa against Israel in the ICJ, it's really important that we are all armed with facts and we know what's true in order to refute lies about this nation. So from the outset, I just want to say that any civilian fatality is a tremendous loss to everyone involved, and unfortunately it is really one of the evils of even the most just of just wars, and it's pretty inescapable. So I'm not taking these numbers lightly as I share them in any way. So last week, Colonel Richard Kemp he's a retired British Army officer and one of Israel's greatest advocates today. He shared on his X some statistics, specifically about the civilian to combatant fatality ratio. What he shared was that if you take the numbers given by the Hamas-run Ministry of Health, which they say is 23,000 civilian deaths in Gaza during this specific conflict, and you do the math with the 9,000 terrorists that Israel is reporting to have killed during this conflict, you get a a civilian to combatant fatality ratio of 1.5 to 1. He says that globally, the UN statistics for urban warfare indicate that the civilian to combatant fatality ratio stands at 9 to 1. Okay, so you can see just how low Israel's ratio is in comparison to the global average as reported by the UN. Okay, so the math that he did here, he just simply took the numbers at face value. Most of us in Israel are highly skeptical of the numbers given by the Hamas-run Ministry of Health. I mean, look at what they did on October 7th. They're not suddenly going to become so moral as to give us accurate numbers. One thing that we know for sure is that they don't differentiate between civilians who were killed in Israeli strikes, civilians who were killed by their own misfired rockets, and civilians whom they killed intentionally, like the people who were trying to evacuate. Those numbers are not subtracted from their totals. We also know that the line between who's actually a terrorist and who is a civilian is quite blurry. The UNRWA teacher, for example, who held a hostage in his home for 50 days and barely fed him, is he civilian or is he terrorist? Right? So we're just taking these numbers at face value. Now, I wanted to see how this compared to other conflicts in history. The NATO bombing of Yugoslavia resulted in a 4-to-1 civilian to combatant fatality ratio. World War II was somewhere between 3-to-2 and 2-to-1. The Korean War was a 3-to-1. I also went and I looked at Israel's numbers throughout the course of their conflict with Gaza. The highest I was ever able to find was 3-to-1, and the lowest was 1-to-28. Now, if you are a critical thinker, does this look like Israel is committing a genocide? So I hope these numbers help to arm you with facts and truth to help clear up any confusion you might have personally, and also so that you would be able to share more with your neighbors when they make accusations of Israeli genocide or say, well, Israel should be measured in their response. You can tell them Israel is beyond measured in their response. They actually are more measured than most any other nation in the world in their response. And we thank you all so much that you're continuing to stand with Israel. We thank you so much for your love and support.